Alrighty, so quick disclaimer, I attempted a green screen in this episode of Necessary Roughness, and it was a failure all the way around. The lighting was god-awful. I foolishly wore a shirt that kind of blended in with the background, so with that being said, please disregard the random sheet in this video and instead just enjoy the episode. Welcome back, sports fans, and non-sports fans too, for the sake of this video. Yes, I am representing my dearly beloved Rock Chalk Jayhawks, despite their double-figure loss to the Zags on Thursday. Am I appalled that we predominantly played small ball without any inside depth? Absolutely. But will I abandon them due to their 0-1 record? Absolutely not. Notice how I specifically said we when referencing the KU Jayhawks. I did so intentionally and instinctively, which is really a seamless transition into the topic of this video, which is the psychology of a sports fan. Despite not physically being on the field or court, your support on some level feels important. The team knows that you are in their corner. You're wearing your lucky jersey and you're pounding the beer you drink when they win. On some level, you feel like you influence the game. There is an evolutionary psychology to being a sports fan. Being a sports fan is ubiquitous across all of humanity who are simply fans of anything. Fan is short for fanatic, so therefore it is impossible to be a casual fan. You are either a fan or you're not. There really is no in between. In early tribal societies, there was a designated appointed person in charge who had a band of people who defended their tribe to ensure that they were healthy and strong in order to protect you. In doing so, you felt an extension of power. Now that we live in a society where survival clearly is not the foremost concern, we have projected that same mentality onto sports by feeling like we are a member of the strongest team, or for the sake of this analogy, tribe. When fans get excessively animated, I for one am certainly guilty of that, they display something uniquely beautiful, which is called disinhibition. Essentially, in layman terms, their inhibitions vanish. They overdrink, they start high-fiving every random stranger wearing your team's jersey, they chant unintelligible nonsense like Brady sucks or we are the champions, despite perhaps only having just won one meaningless regular season game. It is most perfectly described as a positive mob mentality. Now, of course, in everyday life, we are actively seeking fulfillment, but the beauty of sports is that it provides a community of one singular, like-minded goal. Let's win. Those who either do not care for sports or do not understand them can often feel marginalized. The irony of those who disregard sports is that they are still willing to participate in one very specific world-renowned event every year, which is, of course, the Super Bowl. Now, whether it's the commercials, the endless array of bar food, camaraderie, watching people get belligerently drunk, bar brawls, or just an easy excuse to be at a house party, the Super Bowl is the one sole event that appeals to the masses. And in this video, I will prove to you why being a fan of all sports year-round will enhance your overall quality of life. Number 1, it prevents depression. The idea that people get isolated and introverted from watching sports is completely false. It connects people and serves as a social catalyst. Need evidence? Research surrounding fandom and health have proven how your team loyalty might actually help you be happier and healthier. While you might feel sad if your team loses a big game, being an active participant all season can actually help prevent and/or reduce depression. As staggering as that sounds, it has been statistically proven to be true. Research defends this because according to a study out of the University of Kansas, home of the infamous Rock Chalk Jayhawks, I assure you, this was purely coincidental. Sports fans experience fewer bouts of depression and alienation compared to people who are disinterested in sports. Engaging in such an enthralling reality, even just for a few hours every week, can result in feeling a temporary escape from your day-to-day reality, which is directly associated to a lower risk of depression. Number 2, it makes your relationship stronger. Watching a game together as a couple can create a stronger bond between you and your partner. And as cliche and unsubstantiated as that sounds, there is some research that suggests that couples who have a mutual vested interest in sports are more satisfied with their relationship. I myself have struggled with this very issue in just about every relationship I have ever been in. If my super fandom for sports isn't understood or matched with mutual fandom, or at the very least interest in the game, division, alienation, and resentment almost always happens. Now, referring back to my first point,
Loyalty and community towards a particular team or sports as a whole is proven to produce happier and healthier people. With that being said, you can learn to love the game by simply watching it, but watch as a team, a partnership, and not as rivals. Number 3, it keeps your mind active, which is clearly the most integral point. Avid sports fans, myself obviously included, often obsessively scrutinize a game and analyze it as a puzzle in such a way that constitutes mental exercise and keeps the mind sharper, stimulated, and active. From statistical comparisons to point spread projections to vigilantly analyzing wide receiver cornerback matchups, the beauty of sports far exceeds the obvious I want to win mentality and instead becomes a science. A study from the University of Chicago shows that a particular part of the brain that is involved in playing sports is used when sports fans and players talk about sports. Ultimately, the study revealed that non-language related activities, such as playing or watching a sport, enhance one's ability to understand language about the sport. And this is because the brain areas normally used to act become highly involved in language understanding, essentially proving that if you simply watch and listen to a game, you will develop an understanding for it, which in turn results in becoming a fan. So in conclusion, to recap, the 3 key points as to why everyone should be a sports fan is because 1, it prevents depression, 2, it strengthens your relationship, and 3, it keeps the noggin active. Additionally, referring back to my podcast, Hoops and Sticks Chicks, with my rock star co-host Jenny Kinney, I wanted to prove that I do in fact own the Jrue Holiday 2019 Limited City Edition jersey. Whew! She's a beauty. I will say though, I am tremendously excited to see him suit up in a Milwaukee uniform. So in order to wrap up episode 2 of Necessary Roughness, I thought it was apropos to quote the one and only, the great Kobe Bryant. The quote goes as follows: "Sports are such a great teacher. I think of everything they've taught me: camaraderie, humility, how to resolve differences." End quote. Essentially, in translation, sports are the greatest analogy for life. So get on board. I thank you for joining me on episode 2 of Necessary Roughness, and you best believe there will be plenty more to come. I'm Libby Williams.